Hey everybody, this is Doc Mack from the Galloping Ghost Arcade out in Brookfield, Illinois. It is February 15th, 2016, and I am joined here today by none other than Pete Hahn, our Gamer of the Year.
Thought you were going to say it that time.
No, of course, of course. You need your full title set.
Full title, Esquire. How you doing, everyone? Good to be back. We haven't had a podcast in about 2 weeks now, I think.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, it was the 1st of February last time.
Wow. There is so much stuff going on here, and we've been very quiet about all the stuff that is going on behind the scenes, and there is just a lot coming up. It's astonishing how much cool stuff is coming up in the very near future.
That's awesome. Are we going to remain tight-lipped about the stuff, or are we going to wait until it actually happens?
It's going to be... I don't know. I don't even know. Sometime maybe I'll let something slip. Who knows? We'll see. There's a lot of stuff to discuss today without even getting to the surprise stuff that's on the horizons.
Cool.
So,
yeah, there was a lot of feedback and questions on Facebook this last week.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
That's great. We've had just it's been so tremendously busy at the arcade lately, and we really appreciate everything and everybody coming out. And I know the Monday games have been doing really amazingly well, and we just put another one up today. And again, it's going great. And thanks everybody for all the support and everything. So
yeah. Well, we did we announce on our last podcast our busiest day ever? Or no, that happened after our last podcast, didn't it?
I don't. Honestly, it was after.
Yeah.
A record-breaking day. We just had one a couple of weeks ago. The new record-breaking day, 798 people through the arcade doors on Saturday.
Yeah, that was an insane day.
Honestly, I was still walking around. I was talking to a lot of people that day, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it's a lot of people.
Most of them are still new customers. That's what I am finding amazing about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's first time here, just heard about you from such and such, and
or I'm on vacation, or I'm from out of state, or it's a lot of out of state.
It is. It really is. Even today being President's
Day, yeah. People are off at school and work.
Amazing crowd here today. I had ventured out with Jeremy of Prince Arcades.
Shout-outs to Jeremy.
Shout-outs to Jeremy, of course. Picked up another very, very rare game.
Nice.
One that I've been looking for last year, probably.
Is that next week's mystery game, probably?
I can't even... I don't decide...
Until 4:50.
Until about 4:50 what the game is going to be. And then there's...
Then there's panic.
Never panic. It's a scramble for sure. But huge shout-outs today to Seth. We just put up Truxton 2.
Yeah, it actually looks like a lot of fun.
It's a really cool game. I've been looking for that for a while and been so anxious to play it. And it was another one of those, I was leaning towards that being the game, and had done the artwork for the marquee and everything and had it printed, so we had it on hand. We had done a cabinet swap because it was Truxton and Sky Shark were in the same cabinet.
Right.
We paired up Sky Shark and Tiger Heli. And now,
that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. And then Truxton and Truxton 2 are now in the same cabinet, in Tiger Heli's old cabinet.
Very cool. Yeah, I played just one game of it, but it seems like it's pretty easy to get into, but it looks like it's going to be hard to master. Like
it's a very easy to. It's one of those straightforward, just shoot everything.
Yeah, it's Tauplan, but there's no like chain element or anything going on. Yeah. What was it? What year did it come out? Like 1990?
92.
92? Yeah. It's actually, it was a lot of fun when I played it.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll play. Maybe it'll be the first vertical I get into heavily.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Very visually, very nice looking game. The bombing is just awesome. We still have to adjust the sound on it, and but again, it was. I know there was a lot of people there today, and I think that might have deterred some of our regulars. Just due to the crowd that was here for President's Day. So
yep.
I'm sure they'll all be in on it during the week. And
so far, James has got the high score.
Yes.
He's nearing on 200K. I just checked on Arcade.
Oh, yeah.
He's at 196 or so.
I
We'll
think
see.
my out of the box took it, but we'll
Okay.
see.
Cool. So, what do you feel like doing first?
Let's tear through scores, and because again, I know we have a lot of questions, and I want to allude to some fun stuff.
Okay.
And
Well, let's go back. We're going to go back to February 1st. We had Chris Broderick set a new. It's going to be a new high score in Cruisin' USA. I'm sorry, Cruisin' World. He did a score on the Mexico track, which is the one we track here. And it's a minute 35 and 89 hundredths. And that is a world record. A lot of people get in on that track. We've had about 10 scores submitted on Cruisin' World here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool to see him get into it.
Very cool. Huge shout-outs to Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Brodericks have been quietly doing damage.
In the background, yeah.
Yeah, they come in and, they're there for a reason. Initially, they were big into the achievement books.
Right.
And nice to see them getting on to
Getting some scoring in.
some scores, yeah.
Yeah, his brother, I think, beat my Mace score.
Yeah.
I haven't tried to get it back, so there's that.
Does he have that, or does Norbert have that one now?
No, Norbert's score, I beat his score, and then Broderick beat my score.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, Tim, his brother. So after that, we had a Monday release of Red Baron.
Yes.
Let's see, what day was the Red Baron? That was a few days, after that. And what did James put up on that?
I know James did. That's a very James White game.
It is.
You could see him and Brian Shillow doing very well in that.
Yeah. James put up 34,680. That was also on the first. So I believe that was 2 Mondays ago.
Yes.
And that was he was our mystery game winner.
Yes.
From 2 weeks ago. And then our next mystery game, well, as long as we're doing the mystery games, we'll just do our next mystery game. It was Death Race last Monday.
Yes.
Which is really exciting. It's our oldest game by far.
1976, put out by Exidy. A little bit of background. That's been sitting here for a while. That was donated to us by Tanyo Kleiss, who came in. He's from Stern.
Mm-hmm.
And was talking with him, and he was just saying how much he liked the place, and I believe he was moving to Illinois, and he's like, I'm gonna get you guys something that I think you should have here.
Yeah.
And I remember him rolling up with Death Race, and it was just like, wow, it's like that was a game I wasn't sure we would ever see.
Yeah, it's super rare.
It's super rare.
Yeah.
It was the first lot of controversy behind it, and the first. I'm not sure if it was actually banned, but I know it was getting a lot of bad publicity from it being too violent.
I heard that they had to say they were running over zombies because you can't run over people. Is that what it was?
Well, they were supposed to be gremlins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the big thing. It was supposed to be gremlins, and it didn't matter. Mm-hmm. It was just kind of one of those. It was so different, and people had a problem with it. And there's definitely not a lot of those out there. And to get one, it needed work, and we had spent a lot of time. Brandon was still over on the arcade side.
Yeah.
And I had worked on it, and Ken had worked on it, and Brandon, and...
Did Doug do anything on it?
Doug looked at it, and it was... Everybody spent so much time just working on this, and it really just needed... We weren't really sure what was... We have the schematics for it, and it was just a matter of putting the time in it and tracing everything out, and huge shout-outs to Seth for finally just sitting down with it and just tearing through it and being like, this is the problem.
Yep.
And got it up and running, and then he turned around, and I know he was sitting on it and playing it.
Oh, man. He played it a long time that night it came out.
So until 5 a.m. playing it. Like I got here at 6, he was still here playing it.
That's awesome. Well, he beat everyone that played in the Monday Mystery Game Tournament. The highest score set was 23, and it was shared by 3 people.
Yeah.
It was Chris Teeter, Pete Gores, and Jamie Tibbetts,
yes.
right?
Yep.
Okay, so they had 23, and Seth bodied all of them. put him to shame. He had 33, which is, but no, by the end of the night he had 31. And the world record is currently 34 points here, held by Aaron LeBerge. I'm not sure if I said your last name right. Sorry about that. But it's 34, and Seth is now at 33 as his top score. So he's right there. He's going to be challenging that world record really soon, I think.
I know he's going to be working on it.
Yeah.
He'll get it. It's
a matter of time.
It is.
Yeah.
He'll have that good run, and
there is a fair bit of randomness, it seems, in that game. Like, they're just sometimes don't break the right way you think they're going to break. They spawn farther away from you, or you get blocked off by too many tombstones. It's like
the tombstones is the big thing, and making sure that they're
spaced out.
Yeah. But very cool game.
Yeah, huge shout outs to Seth for his great job on that.
Yeah,
both getting it working and setting a nice score on it.
Yeah.
And then that night, Jamie Tibbetts had a new house high in Clacks, 885,510.
It's awesome. Shout outs to Jamie.
Yep. Shout outs to Jamie. Later that night, I believe James also had a new world record on International Team Laser. He barely clipped your score on that. You had around 97,000 or something? 97?
I don't remember. Yeah. Something.
He's at 99,000, so he just barely beat you.
It'll be the race to 100,000 in that.
Cool.
Another great Brian Colin game.
Mm-hmm.
Unreleased. 1 of 1.
Yeah, that's a 1 of 1. It's didn't that turn into something else?
That turned into Blasted.
That's right. You told me that. I forgot.
Was the prototype. International Team Laser was the 4-player prototype game, and then after testing it, everybody thought it would do fine as a 2-player.
Oh, okay.
So
cool. Also that night we had Masis come in. He usually comes in with Jamie, and he put up a new world record on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time, 217 points.
Very cool.
Shout outs
to Masis.
Yep. Later in the week, I had set a new score on Thunder Force AC. I'd been playing it a bit for the Olympics MAME event.
Yeah.
And I just was trying it here, and I have a better score here than I do in the tournament. So I always play better on cabinet, and it's just me. I don't know if it's some type of, I don't know. I always play better on cabinets because it just feels better.
Yeah.
There's something going on there, but I cannot set that score when I try at home on MAME.
Well, that's definitely a great game. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That was I had heard about and played that game so much on the Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we picked that board up at MGC.
Okay.
There's a guy that had that and Gradius 2.
Oh, nice. Some good ones.
And he did not want to sell either. And
bring him out back?
There's never a need for that. It's usually if you tell somebody, it's like, hey, come on.
Well, and then they see it's going to be on the floor of Galloping Ghost. They're like, oh, okay.
We've had some people that have parted with some stuff just because they know it's going to get played here, and it's like, where else is a world record score on that going to be set? And it's so great to see people so surprised when they walk in. There's like, wow, Thunder Force AC. That was like, I remember it on Genesis and never knew there was an arcade of it, and here it is.
Yeah. So that score's nearing the top of what you can actually do in that game. Like, you have to not die because you get 100,000 point bonuses for all your extra lives at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And then there's very little to actually pad in the game. Like, you can kind of leech some of the things that spawn that come out, but there's really not much you can do. There's no infinite, like, sit here and destroy a million things. So that score is going to be really, I think it is beatable, but it'll be really tough to beat. This score would probably sit in the number 2 place in that competition right now. So
yeah,
and there's a lot of good players in that competition.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, it was 2,314,590 is what I had on that. Next up, we had a recent visit from Stephen Lucas.
Yes.
Who is comes out from Springfield. It's quite a drive.
Yeah.
I believe it's Springfield, right?
I believe so.
Okay. He had a
great seeing him. I saw him on Saturday, and you can tell he's always anxious and excited to get on stuff. And
he is. He's so excited. He brings his camcorder. He's got his battery charged. He's like, I'm ready to go. So that's
man
cool.
with a purpose.
Yeah.
Very cool.
He's got a plan. Cool. I see him with his notes in his hand, and it's like he knows what he's going to go for first. But his first score was New House High on Assault, which I believe you had previously held, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you going to be trying to get that back?
You know, I try to play something every day, and I'm it's getting hard to even get over there. There is so much going on.
Over on here, you mean? Over on the production side?
On both, on the arcade and production side. It's really, the hours are getting longer. I keep getting here earlier and earlier, and it's just like, Assault is such an amazing game, and I was far from done playing it when I put that score up, but I've probably played one game of it since I put that score up.
Yeah, and that's a really good score. I think 270,000.
It is
350 is what Steven put up, and that's about halfway to the world record. So he's not too far there.
Hopefully, he can come back and put up even better one. I hope he keeps going with it.
Yeah. And also the same night, he had a new Blood Brothers world record. He previously already held it himself. He just upped his current score. So I like seeing that where people come back and they're like, I can do better, and they increase their already good score, because the next closest score is not even 1 million.
Right.
So he's really discouraging people from going to play that one now, I think. And then I think the next day, the Saturday, he was playing Ghostbusters.
Yep.
And he had beaten, I think Masas held the current top score.
Yep.
I want to double check that, but it was you know what? It wasn't Masas. It was
Didn't there was a non-regular head?
Yeah, he comes every now and then. Frank Smith is his name.
Yes.
He plays that and Bubble Bobble. Those are his only two games he really plays a lot of. But yeah, he had the world record of 723, and Steven beat it. He was at 796,750 on Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters, not those fake ones.
Well, we haven't seen Frank in a while, but I know there's a lot of room on that game. I think that if he comes back in, I bet he can give Steven a run for the score. So
cool. So are either of them getting close to beating the game yet?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Well, the nice thing about Steven is that he records all of his stuff. He's got that camcorder, so when we see a score, we can see how far he gets and all that. And it's something I personally am going to get into more. It's just more recording, and in the future, I hope more people are starting to record their stuff too.
Well, eventually, it will become mandatory. We again with some of the stuff that we have coming up, some interesting things, and we want to keep pushing scoring and to be as professional as possible.
Yeah, and with that comes responsibility to the burden of proof.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We want to take that out of the equation and also just for...
like recognition, too.
Absolutely. Like if people love to watch other players play games at the best level.
Yeah.
And that's, even now, it's one of the things that I enjoy most is going over to the arcade. And, of course, like... every one of the regulars has, for me, a specific game that I just love watching them play, and it's like Fred on Mars Matrix and
Duke on Centipede,
and James on Forgotten Worlds, you on Darius Gaiden.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's got something that it's just it's just masterful. Anthony on Splatterhouse.
Yeah.
It's like there's so many games where
he's playing for style points at that point. Like
Absolutely.
They're just having so much fun.
Absolutely.
Which is awesome.
It's cool to see games played to that level, and just to... it's not even about... and some people are always concerned, they're going to get all of my tech and whatever, and as a player, it's cool just to watch, just to witness it, and to be like, I have an appreciation for it. And while I'm not going after their scores, it's just amazing to watch somebody play a game with that level of mastery of it.
I totally agree. There's games where I'll never go for a score, but it's still cool to watch people playing. Like, I will probably never play Forgotten Worlds. I'm not good at any type of game where I have to aim, with one and move with the other. So most twin stick games are out of the question for me, because I get dizzy a lot playing like Assault. I can't play more than like 3 minutes and I'm dizzy.
Yeah.
But just watching someone that's good at that, it's a lot of fun. And I think that if we record our stuff and we have it all on YouTube, we can have those videos playing, and we also have the proof, so we can promote our players as the best out there, because I think we have some of the best players here.
We do.
So hear that, regulars, start recording everything.
Yes.
Please.
Before it's mandatory.
Yeah, just get in the habit. Get in the habit.
Again, we always have cameras here. If you're interested in getting into scoring, some people feel a little hesitant. They're like, I'm going to have somebody watch this. We have cameras that you're more than, just come up to the counter, be like, hey, I'm thinking about going for a score. we'll go set it up for you. We're happy to do it. We love doing that stuff because we know there's a chance of something cool happening.
Yep.
And even if it doesn't matter.
It doesn't hurt us at all. We can erase the SD card. It's not a waste of our time. Please don't feel like you're bothering us. Just come on up. It literally takes me a minute to take it off the charger. We have a quick flip system on our new tripods that you got for us. You just slap it on there, press it, and it goes. It's done. Like when you were playing Sky Cursor, it took me literally 30 seconds. You're like, hey, I want to record. And that's our video we put on YouTube.
Yeah.
So,
and even for me, it's like I don't normally record a lot of my stuff, and I'm changing that too.
Yeah.
It's whether or not you want it public, like we can discuss that, and that'll be something that we want to get squared away with the community and make sure that the people that are concerned about their tech might not want to give it out, as long as there's proof of it and that we can back up our scores, and we want to make sure that the credibility that Orcade has and that every score that it set at the Galloping Ghost Arcade is fully reputable, and anybody can question anything, and we'll have the proof right there on hand.
Yeah, the last thing I want is for someone to call our scores into question, and that doesn't feel good, first of all. But it in some ways it feels really good that someone thinks that we're good enough that we can't get the scores we say.
Absolutely.
But if it ever comes to the fact where we're called out on it, I want to be able to say, hey, here's the proof.
And there's not been too many scores out there, and right now, I don't really have any scores that come to mind that are like, was there anything even remotely?
Is there anything fishy? Was there any extra padding or whatever that you can't do?
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's, we've always kept it a very tight thing with scoring, and
yeah, I've had to turn down some people. Like, I don't know you. You're telling me you got a score on Lunar Lander, but I didn't see how many credits you added. I can't put that score in.
Well, and it's not even. I remember pulling a score away from James White.
Yeah.
Like, what more credible player is there out there? I remember pulling his Forgotten Worlds score early on, just from one of the habits, and it was one of those things that we kept checking, and it was one of those, because the credit button being pressed twice, if the start button was tapped twice, you'd have an extra guy.
Right.
And the score he put up, I would have bet that it was a legitimate score, but it bothered me.
You can't take that risk. Yeah.
It's not worth taking the risk.
Yeah.
It's James is an incredible player.
He'll get it again because he's persistent.
And since then he's demolished it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that our integrity as referees has to come first.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, there might be a score that we lose out on, but that's part of it, of being a gamer. You can replicate anything. Like, you're going to get a better score the next time you play it. Like, we're all evolving and becoming better gamers, and it's disheartening to lose a score like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's the matter of you've got to have that integrity.
Yeah. There's going to be proof. Eventually we got to have everyone recording. So
so that'll become this mandatory thing eventually.
Yeah, and I think that's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much all we had for scoring, as far as scoring here. But I wanted to give a shout out to Danielle for submitting a nice score on her on Flicky, which she submitted to the 10 Pence Arcade podcast.
Yes.
And won their scoring competition for their last episode. So shout outs to 10 Pence Arcade and Danielle and John Munkus also.
Yes.
They both sent in some great scores.
Yes, I was. She was a little hesitant to get into it, and she's not been playing too much just because she's been busy, and I'm anxious to see her put some more time on it. And she literally only did like a handful of games, and she got that score.
Which was like 6.8 million or so.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Well,
she hasn't. Yeah, I know that she has it at home now, so she doesn't have to come here. I'm like, well, and I just assumed she'd play it every now and then, but you said she hasn't been playing it?
No, not since I gave it to her on Christmas, and she's been just busy with other stuff. She
could be the curse of owning a game. Like, whenever I get a game, like I I have that Crime City PCB.
Yeah.
And now whenever I'm here, I'm like, oh, I could just play it at home. I'll just get to it. It keeps getting put
get
off.
home and you never get to it.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's what's going on too. Like I have it at home. I'll just get to it later.
Yeah. But very happy that she took that score, and
it's a great
proud
score.
Of her for that. So
for sure. So hopefully she'll be challenging, John Munkus, and they'll have a good back and forth. He unofficially holds the world record with a little over 8 million, right? 8.3, 8.4 was it?
I believe 8.4. I believe.
Awesome. Cool.
So.
Cool.
But I'm very happy about Tenpence's choice in
games.
That was like
it was a good pick. I like a lot of the games they do. I like they pick some good ones.
Yeah. Shout outs to them.
Yep. So we should we go on to the Facebook topics?
Yeah, let's jump right into those. I know again there's a lot. So
all right. So we have John Munkus asking, how do you feel about recommending games to people? It seems like it can be hit or miss. Telling a friend, hey, I think you're going to like this game because you like that game. And then he wonders if Arcade Scores would have a way to recommend games. So, like, if it sees you put in a score for, Gradius 2, will it recommend something like similar to it?
Yeah.
Or it's something that we can do as referees. And then Duke kind of chimed in and saying, interesting you say this. He had started on Centipede, but back then he didn't know many games. So, do you think there should be a system in place for recommending games based on what you like, or based on what you put scores in?
It's possible to do something like that. There's so many nuances from game to game. That's been when I'm out buying games, I usually have at least one or two specific people that I cannot wait till they see the game.
You're good at picking games for people.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I really I try to do that. I spend a lot of time like seeing what the people like. It's beyond just what they play, because there's people that play stuff that they like it, but they're not having a ton of fun playing it. It's like they like it and they enjoy it, but like
they're not connecting with it. And
they're not. Yeah, it's just different.
Yeah.
Like I knew when I picked up Missing in Action.
Yeah.
I had Rocco in mind for it. I had you in mind for it, and it was.
I still really like the game. I played it on Saturday again.
Yeah.
Last Saturday, I came within 2,000 points of beating my score, so I was really close beating it again.
That's probably one of the things that I like best about the arcade. That is, it's seeing people enjoy stuff. Like I remember when I got Cyvern, it was something that nobody had ever heard of, and I knew who was going to just
it's incredible
totally
game
be digging
too.
it. It is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's just what comes from being over there and seeing how people connect with the games and researching. I have a game. I won't give the title of it. That
is it a teaser?
This is a slight teaser.
Yeah.
It's an action game, and there are. I think this is going to be one of those games that just resonates with so many people, and it's very obscure. I told you what it was.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay. I probably already forgot then.
It's pretty. You can't really forget it. I would put money on that nobody has ever heard of this game.
Okay.
And very obscure, and I just can't wait to get it on the floor because it's going to be one of those surprise games that nobody's going to have any connection to it, but I know everybody's going to like it. And that's like the fun stuff to break out and be like, throw that in front of people and have them go like,
What is this?
What is that?
Yeah.
How did I never hear of that?
Yep.
That was one like Outfoxies was like that, and Space Lords was like that. And this is a little bit broader audience that this will resonate with.
Did you say what genre it was? I don't
It was an action game.
It's an action game? Okay. Oh, okay. I think I remember now that you're making a motion at me with it.
Yes. It's going to be really cool. And again, the vaults hold so many rare, obscure games that it's wait till you see what's coming. Wait till you see what's coming. There's plenty of things that will make everyone quite happy.
Very cool. I have so much to play right now. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like I literally have a list of games like probably 10 games long that I want to get into like deeply and try to clear.
Yeah.
But it's getting longer and longer. I'm never going to get to them all.
Yeah.
It's a good problem, though, I guess.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
You can never have enough games. Even if you don't play them, they're there for you.
Yeah.
There will be a time when you play it.
That's the nice thing about these games, though. Like, it's not... I mean, getting into a bigger, broader topic, like, that's one of the reasons I kind of dropped off on fighting games, is because if you don't play them you don't keep up with them, you don't play with the others that play it, you lose... you lose your competitive edge because everyone else is evolving their tactics. But these games, you can play them whenever you want, and you come back to them. They've been there for 20 years.
Right.
You can play it at your leisure, and it's not going to matter when you get to it. Like
I look at like when somebody circles back, like Halley's Comet is a perfect example.
Yeah.
And Megaforce.
Yeah.
Jamie Tibbetts and Pete Gores. It was like those games were here forever.
And they just got
they just kind of got stepped around, and Rocco had Halley's Comet, and everybody avoided it.
They were all discouraged, yeah.
Yeah. And then once Tibbetts hit it back up, everybody was playing it.
Yeah, like Hita jumped on it, Gores jumped on it. Yeah. Like there's like 3 or 4 guys that jumped on it, and it's awesome when someone just ignites it like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We had those events happen every now and then where someone just plays a game and
then you and Russian Attack.
Russian Attack. Everyone played that game. It was awesome. It was really cool to see everyone get on that game.
Final Fights had some boost to it.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool. It's so cool that we get to see all that.
Yeah. So yeah, like if you're looking for a recommendation, I'd recommend just talk to Doc, talk to anyone at the front counter. Like they know what genres, like what games stand out, or what are the oddballs that you might think. Like, give me a good horizontal shooter. Like I would have never known to recommend you Thunder Force AC, but now I know what it's about and I can recommend it. But I think a lot of the employees are good at that too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Haruza.
Yeah. He's played every game in here.
I think Marathon Man himself.
Yeah. He'll point you in the right direction.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Cool.
I think you need to do that soon, Pete.
Do what?
Go for the Marathon Man.
Marathon? I don't know. I don't know. I want to see if I can do a marathon. I don't know if I have the physical part of it I'm able to do.
Yeah.
Like mentally, I don't know if I'll just crack after playing King of Fighters 10 times.
You start with King of Fighters.
Yeah, start on those while I'm still wide awake. But yeah, it's a good question. It's a good thing, and definitely, ask your fellow players, ask the employees, and we'll try to point you in the right direction.
For sure.
Okay, we've had another question. Carlo Ballerine asks, do you have any general tips for people that might be interested in setting scores, especially people who literally know nothing about beyond become very good at the game? He says he's asking for a friend.
I think it's really, really easy, and it's just come talk to us. We'll get you set up. We'll get you set up on Arcade. And you have to not look at it as if you're going to go after the world record. Just put in a score and have fun with it. Make sure, do it for fun.
Exactly. That's my biggest. If I were to give anyone any advice, I'd be like, make sure you like the game you're going for a score on.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, even if you like gaming, like just in general, like it's so easy to just set a camera up. And you have a score. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, Arcade is not just about world records, and it's not about the top 3 or anything.
It can be for the serious guys, but it doesn't have to be.
Absolutely. Yeah. But how many people come into this place as world record holders
Martin
versus... Well, we have a bunch of world record holders,
guys, yeah.
But, most everybody that started this place, like Matt Rocco, James White, there were no world records there at all. Right. Yourself, you had no world records.
Probably not.
And it was, everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's just about jumping in. And once people start doing it, I haven't heard anybody be like, I'm not having fun doing this.
Or this is not worth it. Nothing like that.
Right.
Yeah. It's pretty rewarding. I mean, there's the competitive aspect, the people that, I want to beat Quigley and Mozzie's. I want to beat this guy's score no matter what. Right. There's that part, and there's also I want to challenge myself to do something I thought would never be possible.
Yeah.
There's that self-betterment that
or even just better your own score.
Yeah.
It's there's something satisfying about, wow, I only was getting 200,000 before, and now I'm getting 210,000. Like every little advancement, and to have the acknowledgement of it, it's awesome. It's awesome.
It is, and if you decide at that point that you want to be serious and you want to get into setting high scores and submitting world records and all that, we can help you with resources. Like if you want to get into a shmup, I'll send you to the shmup forums and tell you like what to look for. But just getting into setting scores is super easy, and just come into the arcade. Don't set up your arcade account at home. It doesn't work properly yet, as far as I know.
It might now. I don't know.
Okay. But just ask any employee, and we'll put you in the system for arcade. Grab a camera and just give us your best score for the game.
And even if you are not great at the game, if you want to be good at the game, like the coolest thing is the regulars here are so inviting. And there's the full scale. Like we have players that are just playing for fun. That if it's the first time that you're playing a game and you went up to them and be like, hey, you want to play this with me? They'll play a game with you, and you'll get a higher score than they will. And it's just kind of like, oh, you have this like instant camaraderie that happens.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I like that. I mean, you already have one when you're both in the arcade at the same time, but then there's another one when you're playing the same game. Yeah, it's another level of connectedness.
Yeah.
That's basically it. Just come in and we'll get you going. Ryan Reardon, I'm sorry if I mispronounced. How would you feel about doing a charity drive tournaments? For example, a tournament with water-themed games to help the people of Flint, Michigan to get clean water until they have their taps fixed. And Sean says he likes the idea. Sean, quick.
I agree. Like it's the problem, and we've tried to do some charity. I know James did one once.
Yeah, when Heart of Gaming had all their equipment stolen, he did a charity stream to bring awareness to that.
Yeah. To
their donation drive. Yeah.
It's difficult to do a good charity stream. We definitely support a lot of good causes. We donate quite a bit behind the scenes to various organizations, and like we like helping out wherever we can. Like the schools and stuff, and it would be great to be able to do more with that. The marketing on it is difficult just because it's a lot of the people, if whatever you're driving for, if it doesn't directly affect them, unfortunately, like it's hard to get funds raised.
Right.
Like I know when the Heart of Gaming was broken into,
yeah.
Like it's just a difficult thing to do.
I think they were fairly successful in getting some of that back, though. They have a really big local community there.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't know if the stream and what we did, like every bit helps. Like we've been doing our fundraiser, and every dollar helps. So
yeah, it's even about awareness as well. Like even if you can't contribute, the fact that we're streaming and hey, this is a link, spread this around. That link that someone else sees, they might donate. So as long as we get the word out, I think it's helpful. But I think you're right. I think a lot of the times, like people don't see the connection. Like they didn't see James streaming Forgotten Worlds and think, oh, I'm going to donate to Hog.
Right. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
it's a great idea.
Yeah. If anybody wants to do, we're open to charitable streams, and definitely contact us if there's something you want to set up like that, and we'll do our best, because again, you get a good cause and an arcade behind it, and like hopefully we can do something.
Yeah. Should they be contacting you directly through email or us on Facebook, or what should they be doing?
Shoot me an email.
Okay.
At ghostlord@gallopingghost.com, please, and we can go from there.
Cool. Very cool. And then we have a question from Sean Holly. He's also known as Sean In Your Face Holly on the 10 Pence Arcade podcast.
Sure.
He's asking, what do you guys feel about the validity of these ancient super high scores on Twin Galaxies? The record for Astro Blaster, for example, 38K on arcade, and on TG it's 299K, scored all the way back in '82. And also he asks, will we be getting an Astro Blaster cab?
I have no current leads on an Astro Blaster cabinet, and I don't have that in the vaults, unfortunately. Maybe one day.
That's a fixed vertical, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I have so many thoughts on this.
Yeah, this has been one of the things that, in dealing with Orcade, when we were setting up and just researching Twin Galaxies scores, there are some that are just so glaringly, that's not a possible score.
Yeah, it's wrong.
And there's no way to fix it. It's just kind of, with Orcade, we've been given the power to just not acknowledge the score. We have to be 100% sure. And one of the nice things is having the giant background of players that we have. We hear how things were done. I've heard stories from the people who actually have a score in that they're like, yeah, that's not real.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember Martin saying something about some score. Oh, it was on Timber. He's like, yeah, that score I did on MAME. It was like a mistake we made. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's an arcade score.
Yeah.
And we took it down and had the real score put up.
Yeah.
But I what I really love about the Orcade system is that we know who verified the score. If you look at TG, it says referee, and that's it.
And that's the only... There's no picture. There's no anything.
Yeah.
There's... Some of it is just glaring. We've had... You're always going to get people who are like, look at that score. It's twice... Like, again, Rolling Thunder is a perfect example. I've mentioned this several times. Mm-hmm. Matt Rocco was playing it, getting to the last guy.
Yeah.
And the world record was 3 times higher. And
right.
He was like, there's no possible way to do this. Like, what's going on? What am I missing? He wasn't calling it out, but, like, he questioned it.
Yeah. He wasn't saying this is false. He was just saying, how is this possible?
And it was just like, he was even saying, he's like, this would have to be, he's either missing something so completely glaring. Fortunately for that, there's a playthrough that we were able to look at, and it's like, no, it's just he's playing it 100% different than you're playing it.
Yeah.
And point pressing at places, and...
Yeah, the playthrough looked like the guy was amazing at the game when we watched it. Like, he knew everything about the game. He knew where to point press, and he sacrificed a bunch of his lives in the same place to point press, and didn't even go on to finish the game because it was more lucrative for him to stay in one place and get more points than to go and finish the game.
Yeah.
Even though he could, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's like... But that's the thing. It's it really takes good adjudication and solid referees to look at scores and be able to just look at it and be like, that's not an accurate score. And the Orcade network is tight enough where we can see issues if somebody else puts up an erroneous score. And it's been... Everybody who comes into Orcade knows how serious this is. And there was one arcade I went into once that was... I saw an odd score sticking out. Mm-hmm. And I just looked at it and I was like, oh, they must not know about... Because it ended in a 1. It was a Capcom game. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, This is not good. This is not a legitimate score.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of look out for one another and make sure that stuff like that doesn't happen. It was fixed instantly. And like some machines have that you can just tell.
Yeah.
Twin Galaxies has scores for, was it Marvel versus...
The original Marvel vs. Capcom
Yep.
Has a score. I believe it ends in like 2 digits that are... I think it ends in a 13 or something like that. I can pull it up.
Yeah, it's listed as a world record. It gives all the criteria.
16.
It ends in a 16.
Yeah, it's
3.4 million, 3,435,016. There's 10 scores on the game. 4 of them have continues on them. And it's like whoever's reffing that, like, there's no explanation for it. There's no anything. So it's just kind of like we threw them all out. It's
do I have the record on that then?
I believe so.
Oh, this guy's name is on our scorecard.
Oh,
I got to take that off.
Like we have no way of, if the referee at that point was letting all that go.
He just wasn't knowledgeable. Yeah.
Right. Like
he or she.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if the data pool is not 100% accurate, it's like you have to disregard it. Like with Flicky, I that was one that we never really acknowledged TG scores because there's no rules listed for it.
I've seen that a couple times on TG. R-Type has the same thing. I mean, my score beat the highest score on R-Type, but they don't have difficulty settings listed.
Yeah,
so
and it's like,
know?
what are we supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
Honestly, and within Arcade, there's been times where I've stumbled across an arcade setting, and it
just not right.
Well, there's just no information in it.
Oh.
And I'll create a new track and be like, hey, I know what the settings are on ours, and I'll discount even if it is within arcade.
Right. I remember seeing that on Peter Packrat, I think it might have been.
I think it is Peter Packrat.
There's a track where we don't know what settings there are, or what settings they use. So they have their own track there, and it just says no settings available, so we don't know what they're on. So we have our own where we know the settings.
Yeah.
And our score's higher anyway, so.
Yeah, and it's no disrespect to whoever set that up. It was at a tournament, and sometimes like games get pulled out and just you're in a rush and the data doesn't get put in.
Yeah.
On ours, we know our settings.
Yeah, in a tournament you might not have access to the machine even, so you can't open it.
Right.
So.
And that's one of those things that it is very serious. Let alone to Arcade, we take it probably more serious than anybody.
Yeah.
It's like people are traveling here, guys like Stephen Lucas.
Yeah.
Like he's taking a weekend, and we better be on top of our game to make sure that we're doing scores right. Like, we have people traveling from all over the world.
Yeah.
And we can't be making mistakes like that. And I'm not saying they won't ever happen, but
at least we have a system in place to correct them if they do.
Absolutely.
That's what I like. There's no way to get rid of this Marvel score with 16 on the end of it right now.
No.
Which is I mean, both systems have their pros and cons, but I really dislike the fact there's no way to currently correct a score that's clearly wrong on TG, except for us to just ignore it.
For sure.
Yeah.
And while that might make whatever player, if they have a higher score, and if it's legitimate, it's like the validity of what a world record is. It's such everybody's got their own viewpoints. Like, some people consider arcade and MAME the same thing. There's no...
Yeah, a lot of, like, the Shmups forums, they're like, whatever you set your score on is what you set your score on, and they don't care.
Right. And that's their
system,
own. To each their own.
Yeah.
It's like, but for us, using arcade, original hardware, and it's got to be verified.
Verified dips. Yeah.
Yep.
In an arcade live, it cannot. Right now, we're not set up to do video performances.
We've been. That's been.
People have been asking about that.
Me and Danielle have been talking about that. She's like, "What good does it do me to set a?" She's like, very much like, if I set a score at the house, it shouldn't count because it's at the house.
I'll go verify it for you.
Well, and like, I don't want to be. Not that.
You don't want to be overstepping the bounds there. Yeah.
Well, and how awesome is it that she wants to do it in the arcade?
That's cool.
Like, she loves having the machine at the house to practice, but she's like, I wouldn't even feel right if I didn't do it at the arcade. That's cool, I think.
It just, I don't know, there's something different about it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's like, you don't know, Stephen Lucas was playing and some kid like bumped into his camera, and it's like, that's an arcade.
Yeah.
It's like, that's how it is.
Yeah.
It's like, you shouldn't have the laboratory
Yeah.
conditions. It's like go
Let's
play
squeaky clean the vortex or whatever you want, the vacuum.
the vacuum. Yeah. Perfect conditions. Your stick.
Yeah.
Like do this in an arcade, just like they did in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean that's more legit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and Sean Hawley was also talking about like the super ridiculous high scores, like the ones that like were set in the 80s, like the 25 million or whatever on Centipede. Like there was no like YouTube back then. There was no like video cameras. Only TV studios had them. So there isn't that type of proof. So I guess at that point, what do you think? You just have to take the scores as truth or as gospel, or what do you do?
It's one of those.
I mean, they had black and white cameras.
You can, if you do some research, you can find out what's happening. Like a lot of those people are around.
Right.
It's one of those you get the story and
believe it or you don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like anybody can say they have the world record and they can make up a story behind it, and that's really one of those. Again, the reason why we want to have cameras and everything.
Yes.
And eventually, as we grow and we get all these top players coming here, and we've John McAllister, Martin Bedard, Zurst,
yeah.
like it's like we have to set a standard of credibility that is so far beyond whatever's been done before. And I think that's what's going to take scoring to into the next level. And that's what it's all about. Like, well, we don't want to discount anybody's scores. Like, could somebody set those scores in the 80s? Yeah, sure. There's some crazy players out there.
There is. And the thing about playing in the 80s is that, I mean, there was no MAME. There was no internet forums. I mean, you were lucky if you could get on the internet in the 80s, right?
Yeah, right. People weren't on the...
Yeah, they were just at the arcade playing, and that's all they did. You had specialists that they sat in the arcade for 8 hours playing the same game, pumping quarters into it, but they talked to their other players, and that's how they got amazing at those games.
Yeah.
So in that way, they were disadvantaged because they had no MAME, they had no internet. But in the other ways, they had advantages because they had a community that was there every day playing that they were talking to in person. So there's pros and cons to both.
But they didn't have all the distractions either.
That's true.
It was like, again, it's pros and cons of all of it. Most arcades didn't have
streaming cameras.
Well, most arcades didn't have, like, versus our arcade. Like, you didn't have 488 choices.
Right.
Some places...
30.
Yeah. Some even less. Like, if you had a bar that you played at, you had whatever 2 games they had.
Right.
If it was a Zare, you had 2 games.
Yeah, my regular place I went to growing up was a 7-Eleven. We had Street Fighter 2 and UN Squadron, and that was it.
I bet you were pretty good at both.
I got to get back to UN Squadron. I was always discouraged at playing it as a kid because all my money went into Street Fighter.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get back to UN Squadron one of these years. We'll see. But there's so many. I mean, what the big thing about these super high scores and the ones that I know we can disregard. Like I have a couple written down here. There's other scores that I know are just wrong. Like Alien versus Predator is another one. It ends in a 7.
Yeah.
Green Beret. Have you seen their arcade score on Green Beret? 6,166,500. The game counter stops at 9,999. Like I mean 999,999. You can find that. Anyone can find that out if you go into MAME, turn on cheats, and just keep stabbing repeatedly.
Right.
You just won't die because you have the cheats on. But you can find out where the counter stops.
Right.
So that's wrong, and you just disregard it, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
It's one of those. Maybe an extra 0 slipped in there.
Someone had a fat finger.
Yeah.
Putting it in. Yeah.
It's one of those things where we try to find that stuff out, and we try to sift through it and do the research, and it's one of the reasons why I think arcade is so credible.
Yeah.
That we do take the time with it.
And because the referee's name is there, like you can see who verified the score. Like if you have a question about it, just click on his name and it'll send him a message.
Yeah. That's
what I like about it. I think we've kind of covered that one pretty well. So hopefully, Sean, that answers your question. But Sean Quigley, not Sean Hawley, Sean Quigley seconds the question, wondering about the 1985 Choplifter score that is over 1 million points. He doesn't say it's not possible, but the game was released that year, so it must have been some game like it was, an expert. And I think that game loops repeatedly too. Once you beat one loop. So I think Sean, when he got his score, he looped it once or twice already. And I don't know if the counter stops or if it just keeps looping and if it gets harder when it loops. But I can do some research. If you think that score is questionable, I can try finding out about that. Just ask me. I love researching that stuff.
Yeah.
I'll go on the forums.
I know.
I have the back computer.
You've recently been looking into Kung Fu Master.
Yeah, that score. I have thoughts on it. It probably is not a legit score. The one on TG.
I don't believe it is.
Yeah. The score on Kung Fu Master is 1,349,040. And the counter on the game only has 6 digits. So unless someone manually counted the score after the counter stopped, because when you punch a guy or kick a guy, it doesn't display the number. You get the 200 for the kick or the 100 for the punch. So unless someone manually counted up what happened after the counter stopped, that'd be the only way to calculate that score. I really don't think that happened, but that's the scorecard that's the score we're going for right now. It's on our card, but at some point, maybe soon TG their challenge system's going to come into play soon, and they'll be able to look at that.
Yeah.
So. I'll look into Choplifter for you, Sean Quigley, and Sean Hawley. I hope that answers your question, and if not, let us know.
Yep.
Let's see.
What else do we have?
Norbert was asking about, can I be on the podcast? No. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
And we do get a fair amount of people who want to be on the podcast. Definitely
let us know.
Let us know what you would want to be talking about. Try not to pick a topic that like we've just covered, unless you've got like a counterpoint that we haven't just gone through. But we're always interested in getting some new
perspective
and stuff.
Yeah.
And
if you're local to us and can make it out, we typically record after we do our Monday mystery game avail, we just run next door and record.
Yeah.
After 5:00.
Also, we want to start getting back into our player profile.
Yes. I would like one of those.
Yeah?
Yeah. It'd be cool.
You can be the first.
All right.
And if you haven't seen those, we had some Galloping Ghost Arcade player profiles that really covered. We had like Matt Rocco and Matt Walters, James White, Norbert
Davin was on there.
Lowe, and really covered everything from how you got into gaming and what are your favorite games and why and what do you like about gaming, and check them out on YouTube.
I'll link them in the YouTube link or in the YouTube description. I'll put a link for that so you can find it easily.
Cool. Definitely anybody who wants to record one of those, or if you'd like to do an update to one, hit us up. We're going to be doing more of those very soon, so get in on it early and let's set that up.
Yeah, that's fun content. I like knowing about where players got their start and what they really enjoy and what they're proud of that they've done.
Absolutely.
Cool. Do we have anything else? Any events coming up that we want to talk about?
Again, we had set a date for T20. We should probably mention that somewhere soon.
I don't know if you noticed, but I did put it on the site on Arcade now.
Yes. Very awesome.
For our listeners, you can see it. It's October 6th, and it runs for 4 days. It's the 6th through the 9th. It starts at open on Thursday on the 6th, and the actual end of play is at 3 p.m. on Sunday the 9th, and there's an award ceremony an hour later at 4 p.m., so you get an hour to cool down and go to Tony's.
Yeah. Awesome. Cannot wait.
Yep.
I'm already thinking of what games, and then I'll probably change that the night before, and then have a totally different list of games.
Yeah, I really want to do a better job this year of covering gameplay. There's going to be a bunch of great players here, I hope.
Well, there should be a lot of surprises for that. Again, I can't go into full detail on that yet, but I wish I could.
Cool. And I know a lot of the Shmups players on the System 11 forums are looking to do an event here.
Yes.
And I don't think their date's nailed down yet, so as soon as we have an official date, we're going to be doing a Shmup event to coincide.
I think it's supposed to be...
I can find out.
Yeah, they were going back and forth between a few.
It's in June, right?
Was it June? I'm not even really sure. We will post... We will post on that as soon as we know. They were talking about June 10th through the 12th. But we will see. But
Love having him out, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Frayne was here with his candy cab last time.
Yep.
And we coincide that with our Shmups event on the arcade floor, so we can have all the Shmup players hopefully come in.
Oh, wait till this one. The Shmups that are in the vault.
I know, we have a lot of good Shmups in the vaults. There's stuff I would like to play that's in there.
Yeah.
That I'm salty I can't play.
Well, it's coming. It's all coming.
Cool. Cool. Do we have anything else?
I believe this will be the last week that the Walter Day bust is here.
Okay.
I think it's time that it travel on to the Underground Retrocade.
Cool. West Dundee.
So if anybody wants to see it while it's here, this is the week to do it. And then I will be...
I heard you get good luck and you play better if you rub it. That's what I heard.
Maybe. But yeah, it'll be here through this weekend, and then sometime next week we'll take it over. So if you want to see it, again, huge shout outs to one of the best guys in the arcade scene, Kerry Cheney. He made that whole thing happen, and there's the front plate shows everybody that supported it and donated to it. But Kerry Cheney, such an amazing guy in this arcade scene, and really awesome with everything that he's done for the scene, and very cool. So shout outs to Kerry Cheney, and I'm going to be heading over to the Retrocade soon. I haven't been out there in a while.
Oh, when are you going?
No,
wait,
next week.
Wait, Scott's Retrocade or Kerry Cheney's place?
The Underground Retrocade.
Oh, Retrocade. Okay.
I'm going to bring
the Walter
Day bus there. So
you and Walter be heading over?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll join you.
That'd be awesome.
I got to up my house high on Russian attack. Put it further out of reach. Cool. I had nothing else.
I want to go play their put up a score on their Sky Cursor machine too.
Make it so you can rub that score in their faces over there.
You know, I've still been playing that. I've been
every day I see you over there.
I play it once a day. I like that it's a short game. I can get that.
It is now. Well, it's a little preview. Yeah.
For now. But do you have anything else that we should cover? Or?
No, I'm pretty good. I think we're just about out of topics from Facebook too.
You know, let me throw this out there. I am getting to the point where it's my list of games that I'm looking for that I feel that we just gotta have these games here. Let's hear what you guys want. But you guys got to really sell it. Like,
why do we have to have it? Yeah.
Tell
us why.
It's I get game titles all the time, and some of them I'm like, it's all right, but.
So when a customer puts the name of the game they want in the suggestion box, is that not good enough? You got to hear why they want it.
There's been times that I've literally looked at the suggestion box titles and instantly gone and bought the game.
That's right. You did that for Super High Impact, I think. Oh no,
that was a customer that I talked to.
That's right. I forgot.
It was his first time in.
Yeah.
And he mentioned Super High Impact and
the football game.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, why don't we have that?
Mm-hmm.
And I got it right then and there.
Yep. We just need the space to put it in.
Yeah.
Any updates on the expansion that you can share, or not yet? Not yet.
Yeah, we'll give a little. If anybody has been in the arcade in the last few days, they will notice
a little dust,
a little noise.
Mm-hmm.
As of yesterday, if you had your motion tracker from Aliens,
there's people back there.
There's motion inside the room.
Oh. Okay.
So.
Cool.
There's the pass-through is in.
Great.
The girder is in that holds it all up. The iron beam.
Very cool.
That will prevent the wall from caving in.
We don't want that.
We don't want that.
But we do want the space.
So
hopefully soon.
The space is ours.
These Monday Mystery Game unveils are becoming tighter and tighter.
They really are. But that will be fixed very, very soon. And then more expansion news. A lot of production news coming up. A lot of good stuff coming up. A lot of good game news coming up. A lot of advances in a lot of different directions.
Cool.
So, 2016 is going to be crazy.
Awesome.
So, I guess on that, we will wrap this up. Thanks everybody again for listening. We will be back soon.
Probably in a couple weeks' time again.
About
every 2 weeks seems about a good rate to do these.
Maybe. Again, with all the news breaking, we might have to do impromptu podcasts sooner than later. But we will see.
Cool.
Again, join us next Monday for a new mystery game. Stop on out at the arcade and maybe you'll win a trophy.
Yep.
So, thanks everybody. This is Doc Mack from the Galloping Ghost Arcade. And for Pete Hahn, Gamer of the Year.
That's right.
Thanks for listening.
All right.
And we hope to see you around the arcade soon.
Take care.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.